Welcome to the Mindset Mechanics Podcast with Juan and Ladybug Jenkins. It's not too late to find, face, and fix what's stalling you. The shop is open, so pull on in.
Welcome to Mechanical Monday. You are in the shop. I'm Ladybug.
And I am Juan Jenkins, and we are your Mindset Mechanics, reminding you that it is not too late to find, face, and fix what's stalling you.
And when you do that, acceleration is inevitable. In today's episode titled Toll Road, we are going to discuss the cost of success and how it affects you and those around you. So, Jay, why don't you tell the crew listening what we mean?
Yes, indeed. A toll is officially defined as a charge payable for permission to use a particular bridge or road. So we understand that you're driving and there is a standard highway and the expressway. You'll get where you're going faster, but it will cost. Ladybug, can you give the crew an example of what the toll road might look like in real life?
Absolutely. So this week we are going to meet Erica, and yes, I mean me. There are actually two parts to this story, and I think they both do a really good job of showing the cost of success. So we are going to have to roll it all the way back to 1991. Yes, telling my age, a senior in high school. So I had, at the end of your high school years, you have a few electives that you might be taking to kind of, fill out your curriculum, get your credits for graduation. And I was taking an African American history class, which I absolutely enjoyed. And I was one of those, yes, I was the aggravating nerd that would actually read the entire book, not just the parts that were assigned. And so I had thoroughly read through the text and I really enjoyed it. And we were having a discussion in class one day. And at that age, I didn't understand that teachers, and later in college professors would ask questions, not so that they could receive an answer. But see, in my house, that's how it was. If my mom or dad asked you a question, they expected an answer. I didn't know that, professors would ask you a question wanting everyone to have a blank stare and be like, I don't know, teach us, so that they could swoop in with the answer and, look extra brilliant and impart to you. I did not understand that. So I thought a question, warranted an answer. And so I gave an answer about, one of the figures in our textbook based on what was in the book. And, my teacher didn't like it. And he made, a comment, and then he corrected something that I said, telling me that I was wrong. And I was like, well, no, right here in chapter, whatever it was, it says this and that, this is what the answer is. And he said, are you telling me how to teach my class? And I was like, no, I'm just telling you what the book that you issued us says. And he was really angry. And so long story short, he told me that he was flunking me. He said, well, I'm flunking you. And then we can have this discussion again in summer school. And this would have been the summer after my senior year. And just me being me, I'll be, really honest. I've always had a high IQ. I was always able to do well academically without a whole lot of effort. So as you can imagine, that more than rubbed me the wrong way. I basically told him, well, you won't be seeing me. You'll be talking to yourself. So, you can imagine how that went. He made good on his threat. And because, it was his class, it was up to him to say who he felt did well, who he felt. So as you might imagine, the Ladybug did not march in graduation. That was very close to the end of the school year. I did not march at graduation, no cap, no gown. And as opposed to going to summer school, which was exceptionally humiliating. I don't know how it is now, but back then to attend summer school after your senior year was like the height of humiliation. And for someone who had always prided themselves on being very, smart and all of those things, that was just not something I was willing to endure. And there were lots of other things going on personally as well, but that's a story for another podcast. And so I left. I actually left high school. I left without graduating, and I found myself in a very kind of messed up situation. So, um, what are you over there thinking so far, Jay?
Wow. This is a lot. I can imagine how it must have felt to have a child that always did well academically end up in this situation. Man, this must have been very hard on you too. Tell us what happened next.
So yeah, as you can imagine, my parents hit the roof. I, was adamant that I was not going to summer school, well, there is one part that is relevant. I was very angry because my brother and sister at the time that they were supposed to attend college, there was money in place for them to go. And by the time I came along as the youngest, there was not money in place for me to go, and I was very angry about that. I felt cheated, shortchanged, all of that. And so, in the brilliance that only a teenager can come up with, I decided to punish, my parents by not, going to college, because we know that was going to punish them, right? That was going to cause them to suffer. So, at this point, I'm out of high school and feeling very much lost. I will say shortly after that, I did go and get my GED. Didn't really have to study for it. I got an exceptionally high score, the very first time I took it. And then I just went through a series of dead-end jobs. And eventually I ended up, selling insurance at a car insurance agency. But it was a very kind of slimy place, to be honest, very lowbrow. We have personal injury and property damage. We have the state minimum, lots of people defaulting, so it was not a very, great place to work, taking the bus because, I didn't have a car or anything like that. And then one day, one of the managers there, just decided that he liked me, and he was just being very, very pushy, very in my face, and he smoked cigarettes, which was awful. His hand finding its way onto my body inappropriately, just all kinds of things. And so it ended up being quite a lot. And I felt a little bit trapped because I was in this situation where this was my job. This was how, I had to pay, I wasn't going to just lay up on my parents. They weren't going to have that, And so, and I felt a little trapped, and I was very much in a dead end. And in the meantime, I had classmates that were going off to school, going to the military, doing all of these different things. And I was kind of in really a dead end. Yeah.
Oh man, that's messed up, man. Imagine you have children at home depending on you to provide, and this happens. Did you find your exit out of this particular situation?
Okay, so here's what happened. I quit that job, and I just made up in my mind that this was not going to be my future. This was not. I just decided this was not going to be my future. So I went down to the Votech school, and I knew that they had a nursing program, and I got some information on the program. I was very excited, and then they said to me, there is a 2-year waiting list to get into this program. And I was so bummed because when you're, 18, 19 years old, 2 years sounds like forever. And when you're in my situation, it really kind of was. So, things were very different back then. You didn't have all the security and lawsuits and everything like you do now. So I made a very helpful pest out of myself. I showed up at the offices of that school every day. I got to know everybody's name. I made photocopies. I ran errands. I didn't care what I was asked to do. I did it because I wanted a spot, at that school. And in the meantime, I signed up to go to beauty school, which was another program there. They had an immediate opening. And, I was like, well, I'll do this in the meantime. And a couple of months into the program, one of the ladies in the front office said, there's zero chance I'm going to get rid of you before I give you a spot in this program, isn't it? And I was basically like, yes, ma'am, this is what I really want. So she called me about 3 months into my beauty school program and told me that she had a spot for me in the nursing program. And I literally, just like the song in the movie, I became a beauty school dropout. I had enough hours to get my nail tech license. So Ladybug is also a licensed nail tech in Florida. I went on to nursing school, but this is where the second part of, the toll road story comes in. So my then boyfriend, he proposes to me. Mind you, I'm 19 at this time. He proposes to me. And I was even surprised, but my response was to immediately dump him. I did not want to end up in any kind of situation that was going to derail me. So I dumped him. I had, no social life. I had to take the bus from work to school to work to school. I had that little rolling suitcase with all of my stuff in it that I needed. No breaks, no social life, taking the bus in the rain, in the heat. It's dark, whatsoever. But I did whatever was necessary. And in 1994, I graduated at the top of my class from nursing school and gave a speech as a result of that, which had its own challenges. But again, that is yet and still another story. So that is what I did. I decided up front that I was going to pay the price, no matter how high, to be successful, to take that road to success. Yes.
Wow. Wow. That sounds mentally, spiritually, and socially expensive, but that's what people don't see, You know how I always joke that people act like you opened the mailbox one day and your nursing license was in there. Not so. Not so. More like I had to get out of the mud. Get it out of the mud, not out of the mail.
Yes, indeed. Sacrificing for your goals is a real thing. People see the graduation, the good job, the new home. They don't see what goes into it. And so they think that is just some kind of pixie dust. But so yeah, that's what happened. So that is the two sides of that coin. On the one side, I cost myself a lot. I cost myself the success of graduating, of that achievement after so many years in school. But on the other end, I decided I was going to pay whatever the cost to be successful. So let's take a moment to look in the rearview mirror, Jay. This is where we use the knowledge of hindsight to evaluate our topic. What's in your rearview on this one?
Yeah. So we all trip up, as we say, all the time around here. It was a huge mistake to challenge your teacher the way that you did, but who knows how things would have turned out if you walked across the stage without any plans for college or your future. Every decision can come with a high price, even seemingly good ones. What's in your review on this one, Book?
Well, my one takeaway is that pride has no place in my plan for success. I've dealt with lots of professors, bosses, various people who were in a position to either help me or not, even receptionists. And I have no pride in these situations when I'm in these interactions, all because of what happened to me all the way back in 1991. Now, back then, it cost me for extra months, the loss of a cap and gown, my pride. But I'm convinced that I would have done a lot more damage to my life had I not learned that lesson as a teenager.
Wow. Luke 14:28 says, if a king is going to fight against another king, first he will sit down and plan. If he has only 10,000 men, he will try to decide if he is able to defeat the other king who has 20,000 men. If he thinks he cannot defeat the other king, he will send some men to ask for peace while that king's army is still far away. This lets me know that we need to have a plan that includes what it will cost to succeed.
Yes, indeed. Ooh, and I messed up on those notes. That is Luke 14:31-32. And amen to that, sir.
Amen. Amen. So thanks for stopping by the shop. We trust it helped. I am Juan.
And I am Ladybug
Jenkins, reminding you that it is not too late to find, face, and fix what's stalling you.
And when you do that, acceleration is inevitable. Amen.
Amen.
thanks for stopping by the shop. Tune in next Mechanical Monday so you can get the tools to find, face, and fix your mindset and accelerate your life.